Greetings and welcome. This is Tevo DRC, and we're trying to uh, reverse the accusation, get rid of the accuser, role modeling the accuser in Christian ministry, not be biased, not be maligning, not be tale-bearing, not getting on and making monetized videos and lambasting people we've never spoken to. And we don't want to be Bible thumpers, the old classic Americana, where they have the, chasing of the Pharisee saying, finger pointing, you're going to burn because you don't go to church. We caught you, I caught you. That's Phariseeism, tone and talk, that sound. So we're trying to say, let's work on ourselves. Let's get rid of dysfunction, the toxicity, so people can go to church, strangers. Because when I was sent on my journey at 1976 on to study the body of Christ, it was not like that until the last, celebrity started to ferment and started to get all the children of celebrity followers now wanting to be the celebrity next. And that's when it started to get really rough. I started to incur stereotyping and knowledge of what I'm speaking now to address dysfunction. 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 5, 1 Timothy 6, 5, Paul gives 2 escape clauses to the remnant, from the elite, from the word cursors, and so forth. You can read those yourself. Those are the last days, perilous times, which are now here in certain parts. But I want to make sure I do a good job of defending the remnant. The godly remnant is there, whether they're speaking in tongues, whether they don't speak in tongues, whether they're brown, whether they're Catholic. There's a remnant there, and that's why we got to be so careful. That's why I'm very careful. Levitical patriarchism, from what I see over and over and over in many states, it doesn't even think of individual uniqueness. It just thinks of itself, my turf. I want to own everybody, so I keep the money. That's what it conveys in a way. These tribes are mammon-centric. If you got a system, if you got a custom that biased against certain types and styles, which I've met in the field, because I'm one of them. I've been one of them, not to the normal people, but to this one kind, more highfalutin sister and brotherhood, then that's the risk for a lone person, male or female, but it's really a sign that they do this to so many. What if they're Hispanic? What if they're black? What if they're white? Listen, it is a crowd. They're used to it. This group has gotten used to it. Oh, it's just one more. If I am rude to them and they leave, 50 more. God will send me 25 more to take their place, even put better offings because we're going to be blessed. That is what I saw in the deep Southwest. That's what really shocked me, of the impersonalization. It was like move them in, move them out, rawhide. Move them in, move them out, rawhide. And I didn't know that I'd be used by God on assignment to trigger Levitical patriarchy stereotype. And I have many realms of knowledge of this. Let's go this from video, experience, Americana. My daddy wasn't one, he was white, but he wasn't like that. It's a doctrinal group. It's a doctrinal subculture. The speaking in tongues can be one side. They've been the ones that have gotten the occult on them, certain ones, not the remnant. But then we have what are called cessationists, modern cessationists. They're like that. So some are polite. I felt like if I were to sit in front of an evangelical cessationist that believe that tongues don't happen anymore, they're remnant there too. I think they'd be politer to me just civilly instead of processing me like LP does. Famous and not that spirit, deer in the headlight. It is really a easily spooked culture. Are they that afraid? Are they that stymied by the teaching of Jezebel and the prophets? They call themselves prophets. Are they really that scared of strangers? Really, I'm shaking it up. I'm not naming their name. So let's say if I teach on subcultures, which this is, you can have sweet and mild and well-meaning. They just were raised up under it. They don't do all that. They're not dysfunctional. They just have a little bit of a reserve. A woman is coming to take them over. Other than that, that's fine. Just showing up. I am the most quiet. I have been the historically most timid, really, and easily entreated and respectful and guarding boundaries because I was raised like that. And so were many. And I didn't know it, but I have discernment of spirits, and I am a person that is not a man pleaser or a woman pleaser. I please God, but I'm very cautious. I abide in James 3:17 and Ephesians 5:21. Also, as an apostle, you have to go milled and sifted and shipwrecked and heartbroken. You have to go through stuff to, test you and prove you and get you ready for the assignment. So that's part of the turf prophet. And apostle, long haul, lowercase letters, servant leader only. All right. So when we're there, we're just having empathy for Jesus Christ. I was like a missionary in the United States. That's what all it is. Just loving God and knowing the Lord and learning from it, observing. But when we can't even find people that want new people that aren't just like them, that don't just self-reflecting, same type, that's Levitical patriarchism. That is what we discovered often. So we're pro the human. We're not for the persona big boss. We're not for the big boss. We're for the human underneath. So I've studied it because I had so many people in my family that were excellent, well-behaved Christians, but also educated, truly educated, and nobody was ever like that. So it got my attention. Dysfunction. All right, if I were looking at people, when I say the word Levitical patriarch, it has to me, because I've been around studying it for decades, various different portrayals depending upon the group who runs it. So I can say that recently that boys club would be like Eli, Temple priesthood, the father, they were sleeping with the women, the boys club culture, the head guy, Eli, didn't chasten them, correct them, set them out. He said, oh, boys will be boys. That's there. Not everywhere. That's First Samuel. Read about it. As money and women, all right. Could be men too these days, all right. But then we have the modern day version, which is you can have from polite and respectful, civil, just not, and well-meaning, they don't know it, but they can use pop psychology. Oh, we're busy, we're tired, we've seen enough, we've seen it all. Let's just diagnose them and never speak. That's what I found. Really did. And then the ripple, I would walk across some of these sweet baby Jesus kinds of these, which are there. And they're wonderful, they're sweet, and they're gifted. But I come in like I guess, Jane the Baptist on the Isle of Plano. And, I just have been out with my own call for a movement. I'm not under them. And that's the teaching. Submissionism is in this big time. Mostly the spirit-filled are more submissionites. Mostly the non-spirit-filled are Bible thumpers and going after anybody to revile them for being, whatever, false prophets. But they do that on both sides. So we hang with people who are not like that, but we can't help it but think of Jesus, who would never do that. It makes me study my Bible. What is ministry? Who was Jesus? How did he act and react in his relationships when he was alive? Excuse me, in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which is our cross-body unity new teaching, our perspective, a point of view. We don't want you to be under us. I'm not under you. I'm a Galatians 1:1 and 2, apostle sent out like Paul to collaborate with the brethren. All right. And I'm an equal, and I'm in chain of command. All right. So then I am in a mission when I'm in charge of the ministry, sent. I'm Ephesians 5:21, submitted to all in mutual submission to the fear of the Lord. If I ever get married, I'll be in chain of command 5:21 and 5:22. But until that happens, I'm going to do this. When I go to your house, your ministry, your business, your family, I take off my mantle of authority, and I'm you're my hostess, so to speak. I read the boundaries. When I leave, I'm back on my own turf. I'm the leader again. I defer to you, and that's what normal is. You got to train it now. It's not often like that. We've gotten celebrity and elite, and our tribe is now inbred, stone cold, holy fear of the Lord, and biased, tribal biased, neo-Phariseeism, trends of the Sadducees. It is the Sadducees, the trends of the Sadducees, the neo-Phariseeism of the old move now set in its ways. Really is. So even though we only get 10 minutes, all we ask is that you pray and seek the Lord and the New Testament scriptures, not the good old boy, but the scriptures themselves for this to see if it's really true. God bless you.